I don't look at myself as a basketball coach. I look at myself as a leader who happens to coach basketball. This is a quote from an article from Sharp Business Solutions, a company that deals a lot with inspirational quotes. The quote is by Mike Krzyzewski that shows his leadership in his coaching. In his coaching career, he has coached his way to becoming the greatest of all time. Today, I'm here to help you learn why Coach Krzyzewski deserves to be honored. Coach Krzyzewski, or Coach K as many refer to him, has had an impressive coaching career. Today, I will break down 3 parts of his coaching career that deserve praise. First, I will look at his coaching style. Next, I will break down his adversity and accolades. Furthermore, I will examine his service to the community throughout his career. First, let's talk about his coaching style, from his leadership, from his relationship with his players, and also to his former players who are coaching now. Coach Krzyzewski has had the most wins in college basketball history. Many might ask why. One important reason many of his players resound on is his big emphasis on family, the brotherhood. Duke Chronicle, the university's student newspaper, wrote a great piece on Coach K. One of the quotes that stood out from Coach K was one that many of his assistants repeated. He said, "Love every single one of your players." Creating a bond such as family gives the team closer, and in turn they would give a hand for each of their teammates. A second thing that stands out about Coach K's leadership is how much he cares, not only about winning, but mainly about his team. Jeff Capel, former Duke player and assistant coach, said he'll always be a mentor to me. Later on in the interview with Capel, he said, I tell people all the time that when I was 16 and 17 years old, I believed in him. Now I'm 44, and I swear by him. Former player after former player throughout that interview talked about how much he cared. A good instance of this was in the ESPN film, The Class That Saved Coach K. ESPN, being the worldwide leader in sports, did a wonderful job on this piece. The piece was a conversation from a meal with Coach Krzyzewski and his first recruiting class at Duke. One of the things that stood out from their conversation was when they were talking about practicing with him. They said he would suit up and do drills with them. Mark Allery tells a story when he dunked on Coach K in practice, and Krzyzewski loved it because he was trying to get the max effort out of his players. He wants every one of his players to succeed. It's a big reason why many of his former players are coaching or working in somewhere in basketball. In the same film, Tommy Amaker comments on the amount of former Duke players that worked in basketball, saying, "It's because of our experience playing here that was so good, that's why we wanted to play in basketball." In total, there are 9 former assistant coaches under Krzyzewski who are head coaches at Division I programs. We have covered why he should be honored because of his coaching style. Therefore, let us move into talking about the adversity at the beginning of his career that eventually turned into accolades. Coach Krzyzewski has been coaching since 1975, when he coached from 1975 to 1979 at Army, and he won 73 games. His real success came when he started coaching at Duke University. He has been at the head of the Duke basketball program since 1980. His Duke career started out difficult, with the inability to recruit well in his first 2 years. According to Sports Reference, a great site with records of all sports, Krzyzewski's Duke teams were 38 and 47 in their first 3 years. In the early 1980s, the competition was elite in the ACC, with players like Michael Jordan and Ralph Sampson, who each stayed at their respective teams for at least 3 years. Duke teams facing off against the rest of the ACC in the early 80s was like a mouse going up against a massive lion. In The Class That Saved Coach K, he divulged a story where at the final game of the 1983 season, when Duke got beat by a staggering 43 points, a group of boosters met in that gym to try and think of ways to fire him. A friend told Coach K to forget about that game. Krzyzewski said, "No, here's to never flipping forgetting this night." I changed a word in the quote, but the point is he hated losing, and that was a pivotal moment in the Duke program as they started to turn things around. According to Britannica, a website that excels in the history of anything and everything, Coach Krzyzewski led the team to the NCAA tournament that next year, and 2 years later led the team to the Final Four. Coach K led Duke to Final Four in an incredible 5 straight years, winning the national championship in 1991 and 1992. In the 1992 season, Coach K's Duke team was ranked number 1 the entire season. In 2001, Coach K led his team to his third national championship, beating the University of Arizona. From that point forward, the accolades started to pile in as they kept winning an incredible amount of games, and in 2005 won his record 66 NCAA tournament game, which was a record at that time. In 2010, he led the team to his fourth national championship, beating the University of Butler. The next year, he advanced ahead of Bob Knight as the winningest coach in Division I history, with 903 wins. The 2014-2015 season was a historic season for Coach K, eclipsing the 1,000 win mark in January, and at the end of the season winning his fifth national championship. He kept winning and has a magnificent 1,034 wins at the end of last season. To this point, he's got 5 national championships and 12 Final Four appearances. According to Duke Athletics, his success at Duke is not at the end. He coached the U.S. men's national team from 2005 to the end of the 2016 Rio Olympics. They had a pretty rough record. They went 88-1 and ended up winning a lot of gold medals. They won gold medals in the 2008, 2012, and 2016 Olympics, and they won the FIBA Americas Championships in 2007, 2010 FIBA World Championship, and the 2014 FIBA World Cup. The last thing that we will discuss will be Coach K's success off the court, from the classroom to his charity work to his devotion to his family. Furthermore, Coach Krzyzewski has put a big emphasis on the classroom. 72 of his former players have earned academic All-ACC honors and has had 6 players earn a total of 9 COSIDA or academic All-American honors. Coach K is well known off the basketball court as well for his public service. He's worked in key roles for multiple organizations, including the Jimmy V Foundation for Cancer Research, the NABC Foundation, the CEO Roundtable on Cancer, and the Emily Krzyzewski Center. In the article, The Class That Saved Coach K, Coach K talks about his family. He talks about how when he gets home, he doesn't talk about basketball at all, and he's all about his wife and kids. Coach Mike Krzyzewski has been one of the greatest coaches in college basketball for over 40 years and deserves all the praise in this piece. Coach Krzyzewski's style of hard work, family, and care has led him to coach great at the Duke program for a long time and is worthy of praise. Coach K has been a leader not just to his team but to his family, which is equally as worthy of praise. Dick Vitale has a great quote in a Bleacher Report article where he looked back on an interview from Coach K. He said, "He's not all about the great things that happened in the past. Mike is about today. It's all about today. How good are we going to be today?" This mindset has kept him winning in the early years and to this day.